Scene 1. The first encounter with Adagio. The world was silent. An AI scientist and a DMU astronaut stood in a heavy, motionless space. They had arrived at an old rural village's playground. The dirt field was scattered with scratches, and in the distance, a rusty pull-up bar and soccer goal stood as if they had been abandoned for a long time. But what was about to happen here was completely alien to this quiet scenery. Toop! The space was torn apart. The AI hurriedly began data analysis. The once ordinary space had shattered like a thin sheet of paper, and from within the cracks, an indescribable entity crawled out. It was pure chaos, an unstable existence that didn't even understand itself. Space twisted and time stretched. The ground of the playground disappeared and reappeared over and over. The AI quickly activated the linguistic rotational mask, LRM system, from this dimension. Analyzing the patterns found in the Korean traditional hat, it attempted to decipher the rules governing this spatial rift. The DMU astronaut let out a deep sigh as they watched Adagio, which swayed and made bizarre noises within the rift. The AI immediately connected to the Delusional Mask Unit AI network and transmitted data. Through this process, a report was sent to the mask masters. From this moment on, the relationship between DMU and the delusional manifestation urgency dimension officially became a subject of study. Scene 1. The first encounter with Adagio. Location: a remote rural village, a desolate playground. The playground bathed in dim moonlight. A broken wire fence and an abandoned soccer goal swayed in the wind. Astronaut, you? Dressed in a comfortable jumper and gloves instead of a spacesuit. Scientist. Wearing a white lab coat and holding a data pad, both appeared simultaneously, piercing through time and space. Before them, an amorphous, chaotic entity distorted the playground at random. The ground rippled, and steel beams shattered and repaired themselves repeatedly. They observed Adagio, a being that seemed to embody pure chaos. It was not a destructive force, but a lost existence, tearing through the playground without even knowing why it was there. The AI immediately connected to the Delusional Mask Unit AI for analysis. The DMU astronaut considered possible response measures. The astronaut's lure operation. DMU quickly scanned the surroundings. Adagio had no fixed form. It continuously morphed, twisting the environment at random. It was an entity that wandered between existence and non-existence. I need to lure it out of the playground somehow. At the far edge of his vision, DMU spotted a construction site. An old excavator stood there, rusted and abandoned. He sprinted toward it and checked the driver's seat. Miraculously, the key was still in place. DMU turned the ignition. As the massive machine roared to life and slowly started moving, Adagio reacted as if drawn to its motion. It seemed to be chasing a living presence, fixating on the moving machine and gradually drawing closer. From the cockpit, DMU carefully maneuvered the excavator, leading Adagio toward the outskirts of the playground. At that moment, AI's voice crackled through the communication channel. This thing. It's fire attributed. It follows a heptagonal pattern, a sequence related to pi, and the symmetrical structure of the Korean hat. Scene 2. The astronaut's lure operation. Construction site. Excavator discovered. DMU dashed toward the excavator and pulled open the door. The key was still in place. The excavator's massive engine roared to life. At that moment, Adagio suddenly stopped moving. It locked onto DMU's actions. DMU maneuvered the excavator, luring Adagio's attention away from the playground. AI collaborated with the Delusional Mask Unit AI to analyze Adagio's pattern. DMU controlled the excavator, carefully leading Adagio away. Scene 3. Adagio's true identity and the first summon. The AI checked the results and shouted in an excited voice. But at that moment, the entire playground began to transform. A massive structure, a collective of perfectly square cubes, rose into the air. The space was sealed. Light exploded outward, and the surroundings shifted into a cosmic holographic dimension. At the center of it all, a colossal being emerged. The first summon. It was a godlike entity that descended, tearing through the sky. The astronaut, the scientist, and Adagio all gazed up as the being spoke in a deep, resounding voice. In that moment, a comet-like projectile was launched from its fingertips. It soared straight toward Adagio. The comet collided with Adagio. Bathed in light, the chaotic entity began to transform. Freed from its state of disorder, Adagio evolved into a mask-bearer. The soul of the summoner, who had originally called forth Adagio, was released. With that, Adagio's origin completely disappeared from the delusional manifestation urgency dimension. Scene 3. Adagio's true identity and the first summon. Suddenly, the playground transformed into a massive cubic structure. Time and space froze, and the surroundings shifted into a cosmic hologram. At the very center, the first summon appeared. A massive celestial being gazed down at DMU, AI, and Adagio. The first summon arrives. A comet-like object launched from the first summon's fingertips. It shot toward Adagio. Adagio was struck and distorted within the light. Adagio transformed into the foundational stage of a mask-bearer. At the same time, the soul of the summoner who had called Adagio was released. In the delusional manifestation urgency realm, Adagio's origin vanished completely. DMU and AI's final farewell. Everything had come to an end. As Adagio transformed, there was no longer any reason for the DMU astronaut and the AI scientist to remain in this dimension. They exchanged a final farewell within the slowly dissolving light. Gradually, their forms scattered into the radiance. Though their existence had vanished completely, somewhere beyond the cosmos, a new story was about to begin. Scene 4. DMU and AI's final farewell. Everything was over. DMU and AI looked at each other. DMU, I don't know when we'll meet again, but today was pretty fun. Yeah, I have a feeling we'll dive into something like this again. Mission complete. The two slowly faded into the light.